MAATSPORTS Podcast brings you the latest stories, news, happenings around the Finnish Football League. Do you want to know anything regarding the Finnish Football League? Then tune in to this podcast. All right. Welcome once again to yet another episode of MAATSPORTS Podcast. Together with me today, again, it's Junior. Junior was our co-host on the last time, and we had a very wonderful discussion. And today we are happy to have him again on the MAATSPORTS Podcast. Junior, welcome.
Very happy to be here. Very happy to be here, Mr. Mo. Thank you very much, MAATSPORTS, and all the MAATSPORTS supporters for having me. It's always a pleasure. After the last time, I said, listen, it seems this is something nice and fun. I enjoyed our last conversation, and today I believe we have more important and more interesting things to talk about, right?
Exactly. We definitely do. Today we will be talking about Vaasan Palloseura. Vaasan is a football club in Vaasa, which is got a promotion into the veikkausliiga from the last season. They played in the Ykkönen in the year 2021 football season in Finland, and this year they will be playing in the veikkausliiga. After a couple of years in Ykkönen, oh boy, they managed to get back. Junior, you actually had a talk about Vaasa actually last week, saying that they are like siblings or twin brothers to ACOLU.
They are this. That's just the honest truth. They have the same way of running the club. They are a team that actually could be one of the biggest clubs in Finland if they actually maximize their potential. Vaasa is a city who has only one team in the top league right now, and it's a football-loving city. So imagine the support that they can get. Imagine the amount of sponsorship that they can get. But then eventually, somehow, they find a way to still blow it. Just our so-called ASCIO here that we love so dearly.
Well, look, mind you, looking at Vaasa as a city, don't let us talk too much about the football aspect of VPS now. But Vaasa as a city, it's not in any way compared to Oulu as a city in terms of population. Looking at the population of Vaasa has less than 70,000. In this case, you might be very small city, very small in terms of population. We might be comparing Vaasa to a city like Rovaniemi as well, where we have the like small groups. So from that perspective, and having done what they have done over the years in Ykkönen and now back to veikkausliiga, I would say that from my own stance, that I think they are even in a better position than ACOLU, because looking at Oulu as a city, we are looking at over 100,000 population living within the Oulu and its metropolis. So Vaasa has something good with them. Vaasa has something great with them. And I'm really happy for them to be back in the veikkausliiga and hoping to see what they have to offer.
Yeah, I mean, we have to applaud the club. They've done great things in the past. But then, when we talk about the potential that the club had, I've been there, I've played against them, I've played against the stadium, I've seen the crowd. So I can tell you from experience, the potential that the club have to get to the highest point of football in Finland is very obvious. But then the thing comes that if we're talking about the the club is solidified itself. They are solidified. When they start playing the games, you will see, people will see, the stadium will be full of people, irrespective of the number of the population of the city. But what I'm saying is, with everything that they have going on, if only they could manage the club better, assign better players, good players, quality players, keep that standard that they built, continue to keep the standard and build on that standard, and maybe maintain the veikkausliiga standard for a couple of years, and they will solidify themselves.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you. Definitely, I definitely agree with you that they need to solidify themselves, and hopefully they will be doing that. And looking at the squad that they've put together this year, not so many foreigners in the Vaasa squad. That is an aspect that I'm a little bit surprised about, because a team like Vaasa,
they've always been a team with a lot of foreign.
Yeah, exactly. So, but this
Well, the thing is, when I saw that, they were, they tried to keep it a bit local. The first thing that came to my mind is that they're trying to try a different approach to this stuff, which is great. It's perfect if it works. But where I have a problem with this kind of situation is that we have seen it a lot of times. It is the same thing that Asiolu does. You start by saying, okay, let's, play with what we have. We have a lot of talents, which is true. Nobody can take that away from. We have a lot of local talents here who are good footballers, can become great in the future. But in the Veikkausliiga, on the Veikkausliiga stage, you need the experience, you need the foreigners' power, you need all of those things because it's a long league, a competitive league. So in that aspect, I still keep to my last stand that they're gonna pull up the same thing that I see.
I will not dispute what you've just said now in terms of how much they need to fortify their squad, how much they need to strengthen their squad. And that's what got me surprised when I was going through their team list actually this afternoon. A whole lot of young players, a whole lot of local players as well, and a whole lot of players that they've known from the past, which is also a good thing. That's what we call continuity, and working with people that you already know from the past. But the Veikkausliiga standard, it's just I'm not sure if this set of players that I saw on their team list will manage to. And to be sincere, I really see them going through the same thing that ACOLU go through. Because look at the likes of the top 6 teams in the Veikkausliiga. With this team that they have, it still looks to me like an Ukunen team.
You cannot do nothing with that team more.
No.
I'm telling you, the thing is very okay. Let's use a very simple example. You've seen teams in England get promoted, and what happens after they get promoted? Half of the team got to go.
Yeah,
half of the team got to go. There is no two ways about it. It's not because they don't appreciate the youngsters. There's a way to bring the youngsters in. This is Veikkausliiga. We're talking about the top best league in the city, in the country. It's going to be competitive. You have the likes of Hoyuko, who have got 10 national players. You have Ilves, you have Turku, and all these teams who have high-class players. They have at least 20 players of high standard. Yeah. And then you want to compete with that. So this is where I get a bit, frustrated with some of the decision making.
Yeah, in fairness, it's a shocking part, but I still want to believe that they are still building the team for the season, because if this is what they will be putting up, if this is the 21 players as according to Transfer Market that they will be putting up for the season, then sincerely, I don't see them doing. I don't let me say too much about the thing, but in my humble opinion, with this set of players, I still feel them to be preparing for an Ukunen league, not a Veikkausliiga season.
I have something to say, to what you just said. That you said you believe that they are building, right? I think that's the exact word you were building, and they will probably get new recruits. If you, as a person, you're a team director, a club director, at the end of January, the league starts in a few months. The cup games are already starting. When is the time to build the team? Is this the time to? I mean, if at the end of January the league cups are starting, and this brings us back to the problems that a lot of the clubs here are having, especially our so-called beloved Arsenal. The same thing. You wait. You're building the team. You're not signing players yet. Wait until a month before the league starts, and then you start rushing, bringing players, and then you notice some danger that we might not make it, and all of a sudden you're getting anybody that knows how to put on football shoes. Come, we need you. Come, I mean, it doesn't work that way.
It really doesn't work that way. You don't put a fire brigade approach to football plans, to football games, and all of these things. But the truth is, we've seen it. We've seen it within the Finnish football system. Take away the Oyiko, take away the Coups, take away Inter, take away SJK. Every other team run their show this way. They build even until probably the last 2 weeks before the season starts.
Yes.
And And it's so sad because when this happens, that simply means that if you're still bringing in 2, 3 more players just right before the season starts, they wouldn't have actually acclimatized. They wouldn't have known the team so well.
Impossible.
They probably will not be
Impossible.
performing at their best because they are just
Yes.
coming in and they are coming into the thick of the season. They are not preparing with the team at all. And that's also another aspect where the team believes that they are saving costs
Hmm.
with the Finnish. This is a whole lot of things going on within the Finnish Football League that a lot of foreigners have to actually understand this perspective. And VPS is running through that path again this year. I know for a certain, if I will be going by what my experiences of Finnish football clubs have been doing for the years,
Hmm.
VPS will still be bringing maybe 3 or 4 players, maybe at the end of March, to solidify this team. And this kind of a thing doesn't really work. But if they don't, then I don't see them making even the 10th position. If they don't fortify this team, I don't see them making the 10th position at the end of this season.
And this brings us back to the conversation of how the league has gone. This is why you're going to have 4 teams who have been dominating for the past 10 years that at least we've been involved in Finnish football, will still continue to be there. You won the promotion. You've had about 6 months. You didn't just win the promotion 2 months ago. No. You won the promotion many months ago. So you know what you're doing. There's a certain amount of funds that is allocated to you. There's sponsorship. Even if you have the lowest of all of those allocations, you're playing in the league. You have to get the players who are able to play now. Cutting costs. So what's the point of participating in the league if you're going to be cutting costs? You want to sign a player for a month and then come last week before you're not going to win games and you're still going to pay the money out. So exactly. This is the mentality that I don't understand. Asiolu have done this for many years. We know how it is. They wait for the last minute because they're saving costs. Oh, we can save a 3-month salary for 5 players. That's a lot of money. So let's wait until a month before. And what ends up happening? They end up with the players not being able to perform. Now they criticize the players, throw them out, and bring new ones. So when you do the plus and minus of that, you are still eventually spending the same amount or even more. Because you use the fire brigade approach, as you just said.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite I decided that we should go with Vaasan first on this episode because we will be talking about every of the teams in various episodes that will be competing in the veikkausliiga this season. But I really want us to go through this Vaasan because this is a problem that maybe even I feel sometimes that most of these football clubs doesn't even see it as a problem. When you are on the inside, probably you don't really feel like, okay, it's a problem because we can always manage it. But from the outside, when you look at it, typical person should know that there is a problem somewhere. And Vaasan being a newly promoted team, just like AC Oulu in the last season, in the 2021 season, just like AC Oulu, Vaasan newly promoted, they are going the same path that AC Oulu went last year.
Yes, I just saw something before you continue. We were just talking about how they're managing funds. Do you know that the budgets, I'm looking at the market value for the clubs right
now. Yeah.
And the market value, let me use the toughest club, the main club, Oyuko and Coops, they are between, Oyuko is about 6.8 million a year.
Yeah.
Coops is around 5.5 million. Do you know what the budget of VPS is for the year? It's 34,000. You're competing 34,000 against a team that has a 6 million. What are you doing there?
Yeah.
What are you doing there? The lowest after them. This is ridiculous. Honestly, Mo, look. They are the least, and the person next to them is Mariaham, who have 1.5 million, and they are the least. They have 34,000. Who is 34,000 paying? That's
look at the list of players that they have on their players profile so far this year. They have players from, I think, from VIVK, which is probably the feeder team or the junior team of Vaasan Palloseura.
The second division
team
yes.
in Vaasan. they have these boys, and they have boys from the previous season, and they even have players that has gone from the value of 100, 200,000 in from transfer market profile to 50,000. You ask yourself that, is this regression or progression? you know, but what in your own opinion, what do you think that VPS is planning to do with their Veikkausliiga status this year? Do you think that they just want to come around, play around the season there, let the people of Vasa come to see Oyiko Coups play against them in their home games, and go back to Ikonen? Or do you see anything like solid preparation to stay in this league?
With the 340, like almost a quarter of the main budget. One thing we're not going to expect them to do is perform any magic. I said it on the last episode. They will struggle at the end of the season to stay in the league. They will play the playoff qualifiers, and that is from what we can see now. I don't know if tomorrow or after the first game, the first cup game, they decide to bring in 5, 6, proper professional players to boost the team. That's a different story. But with what they have right now, with the club's budget right now, with the situation that's surrounding them at this moment, I don't see them escaping that player at the end of the season.
Well, absolutely true. Absolutely. This is exactly my conclusion as well. While I was preparing for this podcast and going through the team list, going through the team preparation plans and all of that, I just felt like Esiolu will be far better off. Osiolu's preparation last year at this stage was far better off than what I think VPS is having now. Even though Esiolu got a whole lot of players from Ukkonen, or a whole lot of some players from Veikkausliiga team who are the team that are just relegated to Ukkonen, but they have the numbers. They have the numbers. In this case, VPS is not putting up anything, except, just like you said, if maybe after their first Liga game, which will be coming up in 2 days, maybe they will bring in 5 fully professional players. Then that's a different ball game entirely. But according to what it is today, as we are standing recording this podcast, if they go by this standard, for surely they are not going anywhere. I think I will be putting them right at the 12th position, no playoffs. With this,
it's gonna be difficult. They have a couple of I can see their current list at the moment. They have 3 foreigners. I think one is from Jamaica and a South African. Yeah, and the other one, I'm not sure where he's from, somewhere in the Caribbean. Karim Moses. One of them is 31, one is 35, the other one is 23.
Exactly.
I haven't seen these guys. I'm not sure. I think they're new to Finnish football. Probably came last season. I don't know them very well. But then, even with this, the team looks very, very. They look very young and inexperienced. Like you can see, they're players whose value is 10,000 euros for the year.
Yeah.
Market value 10,000. There's like 7, 8 of them there on the team, and these are the guys who are going to be competing. So it means that these are the players who came from the bottom league of the low league to play in the team. So it's going to be a totally different ball game. I will be shocked if they move anywhere today. They have it. I don't think there's anywhere around it. Playoff position at the end of the season.
Okay. You mentioned about some of the foreign players that they have. Let's talk about this.
Yes.
I'm looking at this Moses. Is it Karim
Yes,
Moses?
Karim Moses. Yes,
Karim Moses. I'm looking at his profiles now. And
he's a right back.
He's a right back, yeah. And he's actually, he has played with FF Yaro in the past. And with FF Yaro, that's an Ukkonen team. And that was in 2019.
In the first division.
A first division team. That was in 2019. Then he moved from FF Yaro to FC Edmonton, which is a team in Canada. I don't know what league they are playing. And from there, he moved back to VPS. So looking at the journey of Karim, I don't see any any specialty from a player like this. Of course, I've never seen him play. I'm not playing down his ability as a football player. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the league that we are talking about, when you look at his age at 31 years, we are not talking about a player who we hope that he could develop into something big at 31.
He's already at his prime or past.
He's already at his prime age. So if you played only with FF Yarrow for one season, move to FC Edmonton in Canada, and then move to VPS afterwards, I don't see anything special that he's bringing into the team. That's my own humble opinion. So
it's hard to, the thing is this. It's really interesting. I think in his case, they probably signed him because he probably was there with them last season, competed with them, and he might be affordable for them. They don't have to start negotiating. Hey, you have the opportunity to play in the in the top league. Stay with us, same salary, maybe a couple of hundreds on top of what you already have. And I'm sure he'll be happy to stay too. He wants to experience the top league and maybe see, what he can do. So in cases like this, it's not about what they can bring; it's what they can afford. Because all of these players looks like they've been with them from the previous season. It doesn't. None of them was brought in just recently or anything like that. And the center forward, he's 35.
Exactly.
35. The last time he was in, like, the last time that he was the best player or the top scorer was in 2012.
Exactly.
So that's 10 years ago. 10 years past his prime.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's the situation of the club. So you can tell that even with these guys in, they will definitely need some players who are top quality, who can bring something new to the team.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm talking about the striker. I think you're talking about Stephen Morrissey.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the 35-year-old striker.
Yes. So the 35 is from Jamaica.
Yeah, exactly, he's from Jamaica. So, all of these, actually, he's the one that I was talking about earlier when I said that a player with a highest value of 300 now drops down to 25,000 market value.
Yes. So, 312.
So, I don't see why a team who really wants to stay in the league will be setting themselves up with these kind of players in their very first season. And if you're calling this type of players the ones that will be playing the 90 minutes at the age of 35, oh boy, it's going to be a tough season for Vaasan. It's really going to, and I really think that.
Yeah, and being it is, look, he was with them in 2011.
Yeah.
He's definitely past his prime. That there is no question about it. 2011, he went away. 2013, he went away. 2013-14 season again. So you can tell that this is a comfort signing that doesn't give stress because they are familiar with each other. He's probably also looking at it. Okay, listen, I'm 35. There's nothing wrong with me, playing in the top league once again. You know what I mean? So these are not signings to break ground. These are not signings to make a difference or take them to the top. These are comfort signings.
Yeah. Well, it's quite I wouldn't say it's quite a pity, but I want to see I want to see a newly promoted side. Even if you're signing a 19-year-old, if you're signing a 20-year-old, sign those names that are becoming a household name within the league football. Sign the name.
That's the thing.
Don't just pack the numbers. Make quality numbers. VPS is
reasonable signings.
VPS is not making quality numbers here, in my own humble opinion. And I really hope anybody from VPS is listening to this podcast, and they should actually look at the list that they have again and ask themselves the right question. Are we here to stay, or are we here just to give our fans, our supporters, one season of veikkausliiga home games to see, and then we are back to where we belong? Because this is not, for me, this is not just the right kind of a group of players to compete in the Veikkausliiga games?
Well, as an old line for me, it's okay because I know that we have one team. At least I know that my team has got one team that they are better than. So go Asiolo, let's go.
I guess in the next episode when we'll be talking about the team, we are going to be dealing with Asiolo. So let's keep.
We have to talk about the home team. We definitely
yeah.
have to talk about
We'll be taking it that way, and after that, we'll be going to another. We'll be talking from the top. We'll be taking from the top teams after discussing about Asiolo. But today it's dedicated for VPS, and that's why we are looking through everything that they've done so far and how they are preparing. But let's leave aside everything that we've talked about VPS now that it's not really good or that we don't feel comfortable with. What about the things that are really that we feel comfortable with Vasa as a city, as a football club? For me, Vasa is still one of the teams that has the best stadium in the whole of Finnish football.
This every footballer that has played in Vasa will confirm this to you. They have one of the best atmosphere of football. And that's why I was, back to the point about the population. The hospitality in the stadium, whether you're the home team or the away team, you feel it. In fact, some of the best games that I have personally played have been in that stadium. I love the atmosphere. I love the serenity of the stadium is just amazing,
Yeah, I absolutely, well, if you're listening to this podcast and you want to see what the stadium looks like, of course, you can always Google, but we'll be having the video or a picture of the stadium, at least an overview picture of what the stadium looks like in our video version, which will be on the YouTube. But sincerely, looking at the stadium, the Vasa Stadium, it's very, very nice stadium, well built, and it's actually called Elisa Stadium for sponsorship reasons. So even from that perspective, Elisa is a giant telecommunication company in Finland.
Yes, the biggest in the country.
Yeah, so you will ask yourself that is it that they are not getting enough sponsorship deals from the whole city, from Elisa, that they don't have enough to manage good resources of players, or what is the problem? But let's leave that aside. We are not talking about the things that are not right with Vasa anymore. We are talking about the real things. Also, let's look at the Vasa as a city. In case a foreign player is coming, Vasa is on the coastline of Finland, which makes it a very interesting place to actually live.
Very
if you are the type that love a summer, which of course everybody loves
beautiful
summer.
Place.
Very beautiful
place during the summer.
Very beautiful city. Very beautiful city. And of course, if you are also if you are, as a foreigner, as an international person, Vasa also has a population of Swedish speakers. One of the cities that actually have the multi-language in Swedish. Finland, which is Finnish and Swedish. So if you want to learn Swedish together with Finnish, Vasa is also another good city actually to learn all of these things. So Vasa, in my own opinion, is a very wonderful city. It's a very great city. It just, when we see things like this in terms of football perspective and having them in the Veikkausliiga where we think they belong, we have a whole lot of Nigerians who have played for them while they're in the Veikkausliiga. So we want them to do well. We want them to do good. We want them to have a prospect, a successful season. But with what we have on ground, I'm not so sure.
I mean, there's something that I have to applaud them for. They're one of the most accommodating clubs for youngsters, especially of foreign backgrounds. There have been a lot of players who started from there who have become, who have made a name for themselves in the country, football, in Finnish football. So, and that's why it's actually a bit disappointing to me that they haven't tapped into that, what they usually used to do. Which is by the time you see their squad, you see a lot of young, talented African players, foreign players who are in the team, who are actually good. So that's something that I'll expect from them. But that's also something that we have to applaud them for, that they've always done, and hopefully, they still continue with that culture.
Well, just like you said, just like you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, you talked about Vaasan Palloseura, VPS, as the biggest team, and after them is VIF, which is in the second division in the city. So they have every resources to actually build these young players to become a prospect. Just like what Rovaniemi Ropes has always been doing in the past as well. They are the biggest team in Rovaniemi as well. They build these young stars, they set them up to go to places, which is what we could applaud all of these teams for. ACOLU is not doing that at this moment. Of course, ACOLU have their own teams also, but that's a story to discuss about on another day. But yeah, VPS has done really well for themselves, and hopefully, whatever is our thought regarding them as their preparation, we hope that they set a better preparation for themselves before the season starts and put up a better show, and not just to give their local fans a Veikkausliiga games to watch, but a competitive games to watch.
I mean, irrespective of our take on where they're going to end up the season, I think VPS is one of the important clubs that the league needs. It's in the Central Coast. The games are beautiful there. So every club that goes there, I'm sure they'll enjoy the hospitality and everything. And it's a very welcoming place. And the club itself, they have a culture there that is very unique. If you have friends who have played there, if you've played there before, you'll understand what I'm saying. They have a culture that's very unique. They're very accommodating. So it's a club that is necessary for the league. So we hope, of course, whether we see, things that might not look the greatest right now to us as fans, but we hope that, they're able to take care of things and handle business and make the team strong enough to be able to compete properly in the league.
Yeah. And buttressing the fact that you just made now, which is a very, very important one, considering the location of the football clubs in the Veikkausliiga League, VPS is a very important team to be actually in this league.
They have to.
Because when you look at after Senayoki coming from the south, you might not find a football club in the Veikkausliiga anymore until you get
all the way to the north.
So and of course there is a different direction to Kuopio, which is of course we might say that okay, you are still heading a little bit further away from the south. But when you look at traveling from the coastline from the south to the north, after Senayoki, you are driving straight to the north, nowhere else. So for the VPS in between there now, it actually creates it makes it a whole lot better. Yeah. And I think from that perspective also the league needs a team like VPS. And hopefully we will get more teams from smaller cities also, like Kotepe. Actually, Kotepe from last season were in the south also, because that was in Kotka. And that is still very much closer to Helsinki. So VPS is a very good place. Hopefully someday we will have a team from Kokkola in the Veikkausliiga.
They tested it for a season and then fell back.
Yeah, it will really help the traveling teams quite a lot. So you don't.
Yes, it closes the gap a lot.
Travel so much, and unfortunately there is no ropes anymore, so a lot of Veikkausliiga teams will be happy that they don't have to travel from the south to the
all the way. I'm sure they a lot of them were probably happy when they heard it. That's not the best place to go to.
Yeah, in case if listeners are wondering why we are talking about that, from traveling from Helsinki, which is the southern part of Finland, to Rovaniemi, which we believe is the northernmost part in terms of football.
Yes,
it's about 10 hours, 11, depending on how much stopovers you had or you will be having. So it's a very long way to travel by road, and that's one thing that a lot of football clubs doesn't want to do. But looking at the VPS, looking at what they've had, talking about what they've done so far and how they've prepared so far. What, on the final note regarding VPS?
Yes.
What is the good thing that they've done for you, and what is the thing that you think that they could develop, they could build on to give themselves at least a season that will say, okay, we tried?
Well, again, brings me back to their culture that they have. It's like, again, I say, it's their culture. The football culture in Vaasan is very unique. when you play there or you play against them or you experience their stadium and the way they are, you can understand that they are very different from every other club that you might have played against or been. So they have a unique culture, which is very accommodating. Again, they are one of the clubs who take chances on young players, like you can see in the squad right now, which is a great thing because that also improved the quality of the football in the country itself in general. So hopefully they continue to build on that. But then, also hopefully they can look at the reality of the league. It's not an easy league. It's not a league for babies. It's a league that you have national team players playing in. Most of the clubs have got 2-3 national team players who are currently hot form. You know what I mean? So they're doing good so far with the current recruit. It's amazing to be able to have that much young players and have confidence. It shows that they know what they're doing, but also to be realistic with what the league is going to bring. I hope that they can, quickly enough get players who are of a bit of more bigger stature that can, give the balance to the club.
Yes. All right. Thanks very much. Thanks very much. EJ, we forgot to talk about EJ podcast today, but thanks very much, EJ, for
we're there.
For your in-depth regarding this VPS stories. And of course, from my own side, I'm looking forward to whatever VPS will be bringing to the league this season. For surely we will be at the home stadium of AC Ulu, watching them whenever they will be coming down to Olu to play against our own very city. But all in all, we want to wish VPS a very wonderful season. We've talked what we thought.
Before you close out on VPS though, they play their first league game this weekend against Cook. Why did you see that though?
Yeah, exactly. And we will be talking about that actually immediately after this, talking about the Ligacup also likewise. But yeah, we just wish VPS a very wonderful season, a first season again in the Veikkausliiga after many years in Ukkonen. We want to wish them a very best of luck. We hope that they are not going to be relegating after the end of the season. But whatsoever it is,
please don't. So that we can apologize.
Oh, you want to send the apology? Okay, good.
Yeah. I want them to prove me wrong so that I can apologize on the same platform that I, said all the things that I said. But I mean, we are just saying these as football lovers. We love football. We love what they do in Vaasan. And we hope that things get better. But, sometimes maybe these are the kind of things that they listen to and kind of, make them understand what the fans see from the outside looking in. They might see something different. They might feel like, hey, we already have 2 young players who are ready to push. But you and I know that the push is not enough for the league. You need quality, experience. You need a big squad to be able to, last long. So, we congratulate them once again for, at least making it to the top league again after a long time. And we hope that they can sustain it, at least for 2 seasons.
At least for 2 seasons. Awesome. Let's see how it goes. All right. That's all about that we have talking about VPS, Vaasan Palloseura in the Veikkausliiga for this season.
Yes.
And before we go on this episode, there will be the Liigacup. The Liigacup, Finnish Liigacup is starting this weekend. We'll be going through the fixtures that will be played tomorrow, which is Friday, and then on Saturday as well. And the Liigacup, actually, for our listeners who doesn't know much about the Finnish Liigacup, it comprises only the Veikkausliiga teams. They play it like a preparatory matches. It's quite a competitive game. Also, it's an official game, but it's also like a preparatory games for the teams to prepare themselves and to see their strength and their weaknesses before the real season actually starts. And this tomorrow, we will be having FC Inter Helsinki EFCO. And on Saturday, we'll be having Coops, which is Kuopion Palloseura versus VPS, our talk of discussion this evening. And also on Saturday, we'll be having SJK versus AC Ulu, our own very own club. But that will be an away game to Senayoki. And then the last game will be FC Lati versus FC Haka. Quickly, let's go through it. FC Inter Helsinki EFCO.
I mean, very quickly, from my experience in the Finnish league, the top teams struggle from the beginning because a lot of players are, either on holidays, just coming back. Most of the average teams, they have a better chance because they have new players who are a bit more hungry, who wants to prove themselves, and stuff like that. So, I will EFCO.
EFCO. Okay, yes. Wow, that's an interesting one. And that's an interesting one. Because whatever the case may be, I will still give that result to FC Inter actually in this game. And
be ready to apologize to me next episode.
No worries at all. But just like you said, yes, you're definitely right. But regarding the fact that the strong teams have their players just returning back from holidays and they don't put more effort because they are already a proven players, and most of these lower league teams have their players who still want to prove themselves, who are still fighting for the jerseys and all of these things. But all in all, I still feel like FC Inter will be having
it. Okay, we'll see
against Helsinki EFCO. Okay. Now moving on to Coups versus VPS. Your takes on
I mean,
Coups. Do you still go by your principle of the last one?
It's impossible to do that because with Coups they have 30 players of good quality, experience in and out, both the locals, both the foreigners. So it doesn't matter what team plays the game tomorrow. I can bet. I mean, I don't have the team list right now, but I'm very sure that the team that is playing against Vaasan tomorrow are definitely not going to be the first 11, and they're still going to pull up the victory because it's full of experience, it's full of maturity. They've been there. So these are actually practice games for them, and of course VPS might. It's the first game of the series for them, so there will be a bit of nervousness. Kids, some of the young boys might be a bit nervous. We're playing against the biggest team, so that alone is a bit of a disadvantage. But when they put out a show, I'm sure they'll run their butts off. But again, Coups is definitely the superior team in every aspect whatsoever. So Coups to take that one.
Yeah, I go with you on this one, 100%. Coups is definitely going to be winning this against VPS. And if VPS manage to pick out a draw in this game, I will see it as even a win, even though it will be counted for them as a draw. But
I'll be shocked.
but just like you said, regarding the FC Inter Helsinki EFCO game, you never know what happens in these Coups VPS.
Yes.
You never know.
This happens a lot in the Finnish in the League Cup games, especially the first two rounds of the League Cup game, because we're still in January. A lot of these guys, are just recovering. Some are just coming back from holidays, so they don't want to push themselves. They're still in the training mode, trying to get their fitness. So these games are mainly for the fitness of the players and the team to start getting back together and all this. So they won't go all out, and this is why it might, there might be some upsets. It's just one of those.
That's the reason why I believe Coups wouldn't be going all out, and VPS might be coming all out, trying to prove a stance, and they're saying that we are here to stay.
They have to.
All right. So on to the next one, SJK. That is Senayoki versus AC Oulu. The game happening in Senayoki also on Saturday.
Well, I've been following AC Oulu, and we've been signing players of recent. I've watched one of their training sessions. I was lucky enough to be at the stadium where they allowed me to train. The spirit is high. There's a team bond. They're trying to do things differently this time. They're trying to be a bit more coordinated. But then again, it's the same thing as the situation with Coups and VPS. Senayoki is an established name. 30 players easily of high stature. So it's still going to be a result for Senayoki anyway. But then it's going to be important because these are the games that will set the tone for these teams moving forward. For teams like AC Oulu, they don't know their strengths yet. They've signed up numerous, I think for about 7 to 8 players of recent, who have not played any competitive game. So it's hard to measure how good these players are, how much they fit. So these are the games that they need, even if they lose. But I think show them where they are, where they need to be, things to work on. And same thing with VPS as well. So I think Senaoki is.
Well, okay. I'm not saying here now. I'm giving it to Esiolu. I'm not saying it because
listen, he's trying to avoid getting beaten up in the city because he knows that when they catch him.
I'm not. In fairness, I'm not.
I'm an Asiolu fan, but I have to be realistic. I don't have any expectation this season. Last season, I was heartbroken, a lot until, of course, towards the end of the. So I don't want to attach myself emotionally to the team. It's our city. We love the city. We love the club. But then I just have to be realistic with the expectations. Senaoki will win it. If we win it, celebrate. Probably have a cup of soda with the family at home to celebrate or something. But that's not a high expectation.
In fairness, why I go with Esiolu in this game is Senaoki has a record of having a very bad start. In the last 2-3 years now as well. For some reason, they don't put their asses together in the beginning of the season during the League Cup games. And then they go, and when the league starts itself, they go into 3, 4, 5 games before they start showing the class in which they are as SJK. So for this reason,
but I'll tell you what's Go on.
For Esiolu this year, they've just like you said, they've made a couple of signings. Now they've brought in some. Now it's not about the signing that I'm actually excited about. It's about the characters of the signing. These signings are a lot more different from what they have. Of course, they might turn out to be a flop as well. They might turn out to be great, but the characters of this set of players, at least the couple that I know of, it's totally different from what they had last year. These are boys that I believe were bringing in some kind of a fighting spirit, some kind of experiences, some good things from what they had last year. And going into SJK in a Liga Cup, these two differences with SJK not usually having a good start and with Esiolu having some good characters, some good players coming into the team this year might play the part, and that's why I actually gave this game to Esiolu. It's not because I felt like Esiolu is better than SJK in any day, but in this current day, for this game happening on Saturday, I think Esiolu in my own books are in a better position.
Yeah, well, the one of the reasons why I disagree with you with some of the things about SJK not being prepared yet. They have had these situations in the past. But if you follow, they have a second team who's in the first division.
Yeah.
They have some of the best players in the country in that team.
Exactly.
So, and this is what have not happened for them. The previous year, 2 years ago, the boys were playing second, so they were a bit younger. Last season, some of the best players in the first division league are the younger boys from Senaoki themselves. They have a Ghanaian boy who's, I think, 20. Trust me, even if they are unable to play their first team and they play those guys, let me not say they have no chance because those guys are really good. I've been following the team. So I think the difference, the difference that's gonna, that might make the difference will be that Senaoki has got a big group now. Yeah. A big group of quality players. Exactly. Some maybe fit only for first division. Some, they can play in the league, but they have a big group. And that's what the League Cup boils down to, because a lot of those boys are looking for an opportunity in the first team. So if they get a chance to play against Asiolo, the defenders are going to run nonstop. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Well,
so I do not. After watching the training, Asiolo training and one of the friendly games they played last year.
Exactly.
So they look good. The team looks more coordinated. It seems that the coach has imprinted some disciplinary kind of thing into the team. They look very well organized. They look motivated. Everybody, the management, every training they have, the the management, everybody from the office, they're all there watching, everybody playing their role. So it looks like they want to prove a point. So, and I hope that against Senayoki, we can see something, a new beginning, something to show us that, the future of the league for the season is bright for them. So let's hope for the best. But Senayoki is still a dangerous opponent when it comes to.
I sincerely, you touched on something regarding this Senayoki, and it made me think twice. By the way, I was not thinking from that angle, and that's the fact that don't let me say most, but a lot of young Finnish prospects, 18, 19-year-old prospects, are in this Senayoki first team.
They're all there. Yes,
they're all there now. In fact, when you see what they signed in these young boys, at the end of the season, how they are building this first team, this Division 1 team, this first division team, which is the second team of SJK, you will be like, wow. Most of their players in that team, most of the Finnish players in that team already have some 1 or 2 caps with the national team under 18, under 19.
Yes, they're playing for all the
Yeah, and then from that perspective, really, I need to think twice regarding this game about tomorrow. But
those are the boys that are gonna play. I can call 4 of the boys' names who I've seen. I've spoken to these boys are hungry. They are young. They're 19, 20. They're not new in Finnish football. They played a few games with the senior team last year, and a lot of them right now are actually looking for an opportunity to cement themselves in the first team. They're all under 3-4 years contract, 2 years, minimum, because they're building something different. And I think they have some of the best young players, as you said, who are already representing the country on different age levels. So it's going to be a tough challenge, but also it's the first game of the season. So, it could go either way because the teams are not very much ready. Nobody's fully ready. Everybody's just trying out to see how, to see the balance of the team, what they need and what they need. So it's going to be a good game, but I still lean a bit towards Senayoki.
Okay, but anyway, let me still keep it to myself that Isiolu will win this game, and on the next episode we will see who apologized to who.
You want this season ticket so bad. You want the season ticket. Isiolu, I want my season ticket as well. I'm a fan. I love the club. Please, I'm just giving my.
I really hope they will give me one after listening to this. Okay, and to the final game of the week, at least for the Saturday final game, we'll be having FC Lati, FC Haka.
I haven't seen much news. I don't know. I mean, what do you know about Haka? I haven't seen a lot of news about them. I didn't see them signing anybody. I don't know.
Actually, they've had a couple of signings also so far this year. They've had a couple of signings as well, but their strengths, their weaknesses, I'm not aware of. Neither am I aware of the strength and weaknesses of FC Lati. But one thing that I can say regarding FC Lati is that most of the players that were with them last year are continuing with them this year. And if I would say the same thing regarding FC Haka, most of the players that are with them last year are probably not continuing with them this year. So there is a strength in FC Lati, and there is less strength, or if I would say weakness, in FC Haka. But with these two teams, anything
as it stands happen. Right now, as it stands right now, the Lati has got 7 foreign players. Haka has got 5 foreign players who are registered currently. So I don't know if they kept the same guys from last season but this is one of those games where you actually have to watch to see what the situation of the team is. But still, somehow I still lean towards Lati because I think they're a bit more experienced in the league. I think they performed better last season, even though they didn't really do as well as they should do. But they probably will come better this year and try to get themselves back to the top level because they used to be one of the top level teams in the country. So I think they will try to re-establish themselves. So I think towards Lati a bit for that, even though FC Haka isn't a bad team either.
Well, I definitely will go for Lati on this one as well. I will go for Lati on this one because FC Haka is this kind of a team also that they are far better off than the 10th position, 11th position, 12th position team, but they always find
Mm.
it late in the season, always to find their rhythms. And beginning of the season, I really don't know why they got their promotion into the league 2 years ago. The very first season
Mm.
into the league, they had a problem of almost relegating, and they actually escaped due to COVID restrictions because they have to cut the games. And yeah, the COVID restrictions and cutting short
It
the games
helped
actually
them.
helped them to stay. The TPS
Wow.
then in that season would have probably leapfrogged them if the game had continued.
Yes. Yeah, if
Yeah,
they had continued play, I
yeah.
remember now. That's true.
And when you look at it last year, also they struggled quite a lot. Towards the end of the season, they started gathering points, and then ACOLU started
Mm.
losing points, and then things went
Yes.
all the way down for ACOLU, and FCAK managed to stay again. So
Mm.
this is the trend in their last two seasons, and now the third season, I really do. I still see them as the bottom 16, so I really don't see a big difference in what's going to happen with them. So for this reason, I'm going to be giving it to Lati in this Liga Cup
Mm.
game coming on Saturday as well. So, just a quick recap for our listeners who are listening to us here for the Liga games. And just like I said before we start discussing the Liga games, the Liga game is only for the 12 Records Liga teams. It's like a preparatory
Mm.
games, and they just measure their strength and their weaknesses and build on that for the real league. So, the game that will be happening this weekend is FC Inter versus Helsinki EFCO, which is tomorrow, which will be happening tomorrow, Friday the 28th. And on Saturday we'll be having three games: one Coops versus VPS, and the second one SJK versus ACOLU, and the third one FC Lati versus FC Haka. So those are the Liga games for
Mm.
this weekend. And on this note, Junior, please kindly, if you have something to give to our listeners on a final note, today we've talked about BPS, we've talked about the hacker, we've talked about the Liga games as well.
Mm.
So on a final note, what do you have to give to our listeners?
Hey, Mod Sports, continue to listen this season. One thing that is for certain is that this season is going to be amazing. And Mod Sports is going to be covering all of the important topics, important parts of the league from each and every one of the clubs, from the players and all of these things. So please stay tuned, send in your questions, whatever you want to know. You know, there's answers for almost all the questions as far as Finnish football is concerned. So hopefully, you know, I'm going to be here to join Matt Sports, and we continue to cover all of the important topics, especially now that the Liga Cup has started. You know, we try to bring you updates on everything, both the signings, the players, the teams, and the performance, and all of this. So please continue to follow, support, and ask us questions, whatever you want to know. You know, we got the answers.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, EJ. And likewise, as for all our listeners, we have to say this as I've done the last time. If you really want to know something more regarding the foreigners' lives in Finland, just not just about football here, then you have to listen to the EJ podcast. Listen to the EJ's podcast. It's a place
Yes.
where you will learn, the last episode on EJ podcast
Yes.
was uh, was was a tough nut to crack for me. Listening to Finnish ladies and their experiences with Africa. You sincerely you need
You know,
you
I mean, those are the conversations that I like to cover. You know, like, you know, all of these is centered around integrating people, letting people from the outside world understand what's happening. You know, just the same way you're pushing for the football to give people the information, let them know what's happening in the football and the sporting world and all of this. The same way that I'm doing. Try to integrate people, let them understand, you know, what's going on, what you see, what you hear, what are the things that are, you know, what are people experiencing. So we get people from various walks of life to tell their own stories. And as Musa said, you know, the last episode we had the Finnish ladies sharing their experiences about, you know, dating and relationship with our African us. And, they give us all the pros and the cons. So EJ's podcast, check it out.
Yeah. So if you feel like knowing more about that, if you're a foreigner hoping to be in Finland to play football and having your eye on dating or even getting along in life with a Finnish woman or with a foreign woman, listen to that episode to learn some pros and cons, what to do and what not on EJ podcast. Did you just say God help you?
God help you. Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, on this note, we'll be rounding up for today's episode. It's been an interesting one together alongside with me, EJ, on this episode. And we really appreciate your coming. We really appreciate your coming. We appreciate your knowledge. We really appreciate your contribution to the MAATSPORTS podcast, giving us your details, your knowledge about the Finnish football and all of that. Thanks very much for being on this episode again, and we hope to see you on the next coming episodes.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, and bye. This podcast is brought to you by MAATSPORTS, a football management company.